Morning. Welcome once again. Today I want to show us how to take appropriate measurements for a male athlete, be it senator, whatever. This is the only way you can measure properly. Now, this is my client. I want to measure him, and then measuring, the first place I do start is from the chest. Before now, I believe most of you must have known the areas to measure. So as I measure, I'll tell you the technique on how to get the exact measurement. Now, I'm going to measure the chest. Now, you must pass your tape around your client's body. Now, this tape must touch the shoulder, the blade, the shoulder blade. It must pass through here. You shouldn't go down. You should be at this circumference. Now, when it goes at that circumference, you come to the front. Now, when you go at that circumference, you come to the front. Now, the tape must have allowance. It must glide. It shouldn't be too tight, neither should it be too fitted. It must glide. And moreover, whenever you're measuring a client's body, you have to ask the person if he or she, if he wants it fitted or okay. So it depends on what he tells you. Now, for my client's body, his chest measurement is 40. Now, when you take this 40, you take it down to his tummy side. Should in case you encounter a client that has tummy, in the case that the tummy is bulging out more than the chest, you now have to take the tummy to be the chest. So for my client now, his chest is 40. So 40 will be so okay for him. This for the chest measurement. Now the next step I go is I take the shoulder. Now the shoulder is coming at the edge of the blade. Now this shoulder, you must pass it on top this way. It shouldn't go downwards. It should be on top this way. Now his shoulder is 18 and a half. Now the shoulder must pass on the neck area. It shouldn't go below this. It should be on this form. Now 18 and a half for his shoulder. Now the next thing I do is I measure his neck. Simply pass the tape around his neck. Now when you pass it around his neck, one of your fingers must be in between. Now the edge where your tape stops is where the mark is. So his neck is 16. Now the next thing I do is I measure the top length. Now you place the tape on the shoulder area, this point. You place it here. Now we bring it down. Now your top length must always cover your flap, the flap of the original trouser he wore or he's wearing. Your top length must always cover this flap. The top length should not be jumping, because the reason of having a top length that's long is because in case the zip spoils on his way or in an occasion or on the road, so his top length will be able to cover the zip to avoid any embarrassment. Now the next thing I will do is how to measure the sleeve length. You place the tape at the edge where you stopped from your shoulder. You take it down. Now this sleeve length varies, depends on your client. Some will want it longer, some will want it hanging, but on a minimum sleeve length of 9 and 10 for a grown-up client is not bad. So his sleeve length, I'm taking it to be 10. Now the next step is the round sleeve. You put your tape around his arm. Now you always ask him, do you want it fitted or bogus? If he said fitted, now the client must fold his arm in this form. Now you take your measurement. Now his sleeve length is 13 or 13 and a half, depends on your choice, and it must have allowance to glide. Now I'm done measuring the top. Now I'm going to the trouser. The next one you do is the waist. You check where his belt is. Now you measure for his waist. Now this waist, you will not have allowance. You have to tighten it on top of the trouser he wore already. So his waist is 34. Now at this point, you check where the tape ends. My tape is ending at 34 points. It's 34. Now the next step is his hips. Now this hips is one of the most important areas when you are measuring. Always make sure that the tape passes round on the bulging part of the hips, the most protruding part of the hips. Now when this tape passes this side, ask the client to spread his legs. He or she must spread his legs in a way that it will give him a balancing effect. So his hips is 44, and you must also glide the tape around his hip circumference. That's for the hips. Now the next one you do is the laps. Now you pass the tape under his crouch. It must go around his trouser. Now at this point, make sure that your client does not have anything like phone or key inside his pocket, both front and back. Because if his phone or key is inside, it will increase the last measurement. So what you need to do is you just ask him to remove whatever he's having in his pocket. So for you to get the real lapse measurement. So my client's lapse now is 24, and the measurement must glide, the tape must glide. Now the next one you measure is his knee. The tape must pass on top of his knee, and at the point of the knee, it mustn't be too tight, it must be a bit free. So my client's measurement for his knee now is 17. Now the next one you measure is the ankle. Now this ankle, on some cases, now if your client wore a trouser, you ask him if the trouser is ready, it's okay for him. If it's okay, you now take the measurement of the trouser, the downside. If not okay, you have to pass your tape round his heel. Now this tape that passes around his heel, you must pass it through this point. Now when you pass through this point, you go on top and take the real ankle measurement. Now his ankle, I'm having it to be what, 14. As you can see, it's 14. Now it must pass through here, the shoe, to this point. So at this point, your client must remove his shoe for effective measurement. Now you now go to the next stage, which is the trouser measurement. Now at this stage, your client will stand erect. He or she will not face down. You measure from the trouser belt he's wearing, pass it down. Now it must cover the ankle, then the knee, the bone here. So my client's measurement for the trouser is 40. As you can see, it must reach to this point, 40. Bear in mind that your client must be standing erect. So with these few illustrations, I believe we all now can measure take proper measurements of a senator outfit. Thank you for watching.